with me, Shivani Singh. The 2020 Delhi riots remain one of the most devastating episodes of communal violence in the national capital. More than 50 people were killed, hundreds were injured, and entire neighborhoods were left scarred. Now, 6 years later, a Delhi court has convicted former Aam Aadmi Party councillor Tahir Hussain in the murder of Intelligence Bureau staffer Ankit Sharma, marking the first murder conviction arising out of the 2020 riots. But what exactly did investigators allege? How, according to the Delhi police, was the entire violence planned? And what evidence did prosecutors rely upon? Let's break it down for you. Now, according to the Delhi police charge sheet, the alleged conspiracy did not begin on 24th February 2020. Investigators claim that preparation started weeks earlier, in January 2020. The charge sheet alleges that Tahir Hussain met former JNU student Umar Khalid and activist Khalid Saifi during the anti-CAA protest at Shaheen Bagh. Police allege that discussions were held about preparing for large-scale violence around the time of US President Donald Trump's visit to India. One of the prosecution's biggest claims concerns funding. According to the charge sheet, Hussain allegedly transferred nearly rupees 1.10 crore through companies that were linked to him before withdrawing the money in cash through multiple transactions. Now, investigators allege that the cash was used for riot preparations and distributed among supporters. The charge sheet also alleges Hussain retrieved his licensed pistol after learning about pro-CAA demonstrations nearby. Now, police say that Hussain's four-story building in Chand Bagh became a key operational point. Investigators recovered or documented thousands of stones, petrol bombs, acid packets, bricks, slingshots, and bottles allegedly prepared as improvised weapons. Take a look. Now, multiple videos that surfaced during the riots showed individuals throwing projectiles from the rooftop. The prosecution alleged that Hussain himself was present and coordinated the attacks from the terrace. Hussain has consistently denied participating in the violence and has maintained that rioters took over his house, forcing him to flee. Now, according to investigators, February 24th marked the execution phase. The prosecution alleges coordinated groups gathered in Chand Bagh and neighboring localities. Police also claim that violence escalated in phases. First, there was stone pelting, petrol bombs, arson, and then mob attacks. Investigators also relied on mobile phone location records, CCTV footage, forensic evidence, and witness statements to reconstruct the movement of the accused during the violence. Perhaps the most high-profile case arising from the riots was the killing of Intelligence Bureau staffer Ankit Sharma. On February 25, 2020, a 26-year-old Intelligence Bureau officer, Ankit Sharma, stepped out of his home to buy household essentials. He never returned. On the same day, allegations surfaced that stones and petrol bombs were being hurled from the rooftop of Tahir Hussain's Chand Bagh house. The next day, Ankit Sharma's body was recovered from a drain in Khajuri Khas. Police later stated that Ankit Sharma had been dragged into a mob near Hussain's residence, murdered, and then his body was dumped in a nearby drain. Sharma had been stabbed 52 times. That is what the police is saying. Now, on February 27, 2020, Delhi police constituted an SIT to probe the murder. Then in March, Delhi police arrested Tahir Hussain, with investigators claiming that the searches at his residence led to the recovery of large quantities of stones, materials used to make petrol bombs, acid packets, and more. Over the next 2 years, several eyewitnesses recorded their statements, and forensic and electronic evidence was also submitted before the court. On March 23, 2023, the Kakarduma court framed charges against Tahir Hussain and 11 others under provisions related to murder, rioting, criminal conspiracy and other offences. Well, the Delhi court has now convicted Tahir Hussain and 4 others in this murder case after evaluating the evidence presented during trial. This conviction is distinct from the broader UAPA or larger conspiracy case, which remains a separate legal proceeding. The recent verdict establishes that Tahir Hussain has been convicted in the murder case relating to Ankit Sharma, subject to the normal appellate process. However, it is separate from the broader conspiracy allegations. Now, many claims regarding advanced planning, funding networks and coordinated orchestration come from police charge sheets and remain matters that continue to be litigated in the larger conspiracy case. The Delhi riots investigation has generated thousands of pages of charge sheets, forensic reports, CCTV evidence, witness testimonies, and digital records as well. For investigators, the case points to a pre-planned conspiracy involving advanced meetings, financing, and logistical preparation for the defense. The allegations are disputed, and several accused maintain that they have been falsely implicated. Well, the conviction in the Ankit Sharma case marks a major milestone in the legal aftermath of the 2020 riots. But the larger conspiracy trial, which seeks to answer who planned the violence and how, is still working its way through the courts. And until every appeal and every trial is concluded, the full story of the 2020 Delhi riots remains unfinished. Let me take this further with Mr. Ellen Rao, who is the former DCP of the Delhi Police. He is joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sir, for your time, and I welcome you to this broadcast. A very good evening to you.
Very good evening, Shivani.
Mr. Rao, I want to understand from your perspective, this is the first major conviction that is happening in the murder case of the IB officer. And this is obviously linked to the 2020 riots case. However, the larger conspiracy case is still under litigation. How are you looking at all of this that is unfolding right now?
Good evening, Shivani ji. It's really a very meticulous case investigated by the Crime Branch Special Investigation Team, which led to the conviction of the main conspirator, Tahir Hussain. In this case, this was a very brutal murder case in which the victim, the IB officer, had been stabbed several times, and he was later on dragged into a drain, and then his body was found on the next day. We can, if we remember those days when this in February 2020, this riots erupted in Trans Yamuna. It was a very unfortunate day because on that day so many other persons were injured and properties were damaged by the violators. But this case was a very particular case in which the death of an IB officer that was reported, and after going through the whole investigation, whole evidences in this case, I think the SIT of Crime Branch did a very marvelous investigation, which led to the conviction of this main conspirator. I must tell you very clearly, because I'm also a legal professional. I'm working in as a legal professional in Supreme Court, High Court, and District Courts. Getting or securing conviction in such type of cases where there is no direct evidence, you can see the circumstantial evidence was such that which led to the conviction in this case. And I think that not only the investigation but also the purview of this case, that is also very important, because normally after conducting investigation, investigating officers leave that court up to the mercy of the court staff, and during trial so many witnesses turn hostile, and that led to the acquittal of such cases. But in this case, I think the investigators and the investigating officers did a very good purview, and the meticulous evidence was put forth before the learned judge, and without proper evidence, it's very difficult for a judge also to convict in such type of cases. Which this case was also politically sensitive also, because the main culprit Tahir Hussain was the councillor of Aam Aadmi Party, and this was given a color of political case, political vendetta, etc., etc. at that time. But with the passage of time, when there was so many evidences, direct evidences, and scientific evidences, and documentary evidences, and more particularly the CCTV footage was collected and scrutinized. That's very important aspect of this case, because the CCTV footage which were collected from that area, which was linked with this case, and everything was meticulously planned and investigated, and all possible evidences, maybe scientific evidences and other evidences were collated, and the very detailed charge sheet was filed in this case. And after that, during trial also, all the witnesses most likely has depicted in affirmative before the court, and that is the reason when this case is turned into conviction. And I congratulate once again to the SIT of the Delhi Police Crime Branch. Shivani.
In a smaller murder case, when we look at the larger conspiracy case that the police is also investigating, in the charge sheet they've mentioned the funding, how it was used to, how Tahir Hussain had in fact allegedly, linked multiple bank accounts, then taken out cash from multiple locations. Can that have a direct bearing on this larger conspiracy case as well?
Yes, definitely. That part of funding to the accused persons, that was, I think, there's a prime evidence to prove the criminal conspiracy of Tahir Hussain in this case, because there were multiple bank accounts, the money was deposited and taken out in cash before this riot. That shows that some planning was going on, and that could be a crucial evidence for the police and the court to convict this person under criminal conspiracy also. I must tell you that it's very difficult to prove criminal conspiracy. But in this case, I think that funding part was the main aspect of the investigation as well as trial, which could prove the criminal conspiracy of the accused, linking to the crime of this gruesome crime, I must say, because the very Honhar that IB officer was killed in this case, and so many other people were also injured. This is mainly because murder case was because of this IB officer, but so many other persons also were injured, and the injured person also depicted before the court against the accused persons, and that is the reason this case has been convicted.
All right.
Mainly because of the evidences.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rao, for your valuable perspective on this issue and for your time.
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री